Hi, it's Rico, and welcome back to another edition of Brooklyn Cooking. Today I'm making one of my specialties, Chicken Marsala, as we say it, a special. Uh, this is one of the few recipes I never looked up how to do when I was probably in college or after that. We had an old family friend, Patsy, who worked at an old, I remember the old Carolina restaurant when Carolina was Carolina in Coney Island. He used to work there. He wasn't a cook, but he was a waiter. And he used to come here after my father. He was good friends with my father. And he used to come here mostly on Tuesday afternoon. They would make a whole day out of it. He would get here in the morning. They would start the day with a big frittata, and then they would cook dinner. It was one of the few days my mother got a night off from cooking. And he made this once, and I watched him. And it's just spectacular. The reason he came on Tuesdays because that was dark days, traditionally dark days at Aqueduct in Belmont. Because instead of taking Mondays off, once they started Sunday racing in New York, they took Tuesdays off because a lot of the barbers and everybody else were off on Mondays. So there was no racing on Tuesdays, and he would go to Aqueduct and Belmont every day. He didn't really bet much. He stood at the top of the stretch and he just watched, and every now and then he made a bet. And, this is in honor of him. And, I always wanted him to be my godfather, but he's my sister's godfather. My godfather was one of his old good friends, my uncle-in-law's brother. And he was a great guy too. He was more like my father and Patsy. He liked to bet. I really didn't get to know him because he died when I was pretty young, maybe 7 or 8 years old. And so we're going to get cooking. So the ingredients are chicken. Our special is prosciutto. He always put prosciutto in there. Mushrooms, an onion, a big fat onion, and a good masala. This is Florio masala. It's very good. They make it dry and a sweet. You can reuse either one, but I like to go with the dry. One thing that's an absolute no-no is don't go. If you want to make this dish, don't make it if you're going to go into the supermarket and buy a cooking masala or a cooking wine. It's just going to be horrible. So, like I say, cooking is just using the best ingredients and don't screw it up. So we're going to clear the table and start cutting up the onion and then do the chicken, and we'll get going. We have our onion here, and we're going to cut it up. Now, in this dish, we want pretty big onion pieces, so I'm going to quarter it, and kind of break it up a little bit because the outer piece, that's a pretty good size. Whoop. They got a little nut. This will go in here. Of course, the way an onion is, they're not going to be all identical sizes, but we want pretty good pieces, an inch or so. There's my finger, whatever that measures out to. And we're going to cook this in advance. A lot of it is going to be cooked in advance. The chicken will be fried separately, and then it'll be all put together at the end. So we're going to get this ready, get it into the frying pan, cook it nice and slow. Now, we don't want to brown these. We want to keep these as white as possible. All right, we have some extra virgin olive oil in the pan, and we added the onion. And we'll show some fancy flipping. And one thing about cooking, it's season as you go. So you want to take some salt, kosher salt, and some fresh ground pepper. Not too much on the salt, but the prosciutto is pretty salty. So now, for guys like me who who like to burn onions and who's going to get busy with other things and forget about them. A little trick for cooking these nice and white is add some water. Not going to, the water will cook out, the oil won't, and they'll get nice and soft and hopefully maintain their whiteness. So we'll let this cook a bit. We'll mix it up every so often until it's ready. The onions are done. They've been cooking a good 25 minutes, very low. I did a good job keeping them white. I'm happy with that. So we're just going to put these in a little bowl and put them in a holding cell until we're ready to put it together. I cut up most of the chicken. I left a couple of pieces. Now, these are the tenderloins. Normally, I like to use chicken breast. Why I'm using tenderloins today? Because this is what I had. And be honest, I didn't want to go out shopping again, and I wanted to get these up. So these tenderloins have this little white thing in there. I'm sure they cook out. And just get your knife on it and just pull it out. That's all there is to it. And these we want pretty thin. We want one-sided chicken. As Norton said to Ralph Cramden, when you walk down the street, there is no other side. So we want one-sided chicken. The chicken's all cut up and ready to go. It's now time to fry it. We're frying the chicken cutlets just in flour. The flour just protects the chicken a little bit. These are a little bigger than I usually make. Because usually I'm making this for an army, for a party, and you know, can't make them too big or it won't be enough to go around. So we're just going to fry these up real quick. We're going to get this off already. No reason to really drain these because you could use the flour. The oil. All right, we're just about done. I'm cooking these rather quickly because you don't want to dry them out. Plus, they're going to cook further in the sauce when we do that a little later. So we just want to get them a little color. Just one thing about tenderloin, these small little pieces are inevitable, but why we should use chicken breast, but you have what you have. It'll be very good. It'll be nice and tender, but you don't wind up with a bunch of small pieces. These are done frying, and then we'll finish it up. We're about to finish up. I just want to go over the ingredients. So we have 2 pounds of chicken cutlets, or in our case, tenderloin. And the only formula I have here, for every pound of chicken, I use a 1/4 pound of prosciutto. So if that's 2 pounds, this is 1/2 pound. We have mushrooms. I just want to go over how I cut them. You know, you got this little piece at the end that's kind of nasty. So basically, just slice them. Probably a little overkill on the mushrooms, but if I feel we have too many, I just won't put them in. But it's not going to matter. If you like mushrooms, use a lot. You don't like mushrooms, you use less. My family, some people pick out the mushrooms and don't eat them. So we're good there. We have our onion that we cut up, and we have our masala. So right now I have a 1/2 cup of masala in here. Why do I have a 1/2 cup? Because I had one bottle that I had already started, and I poured everything into it, and it came out to a 1/2 cup. We'll probably need a little more. If we do, we'll open up the other bottle and we'll measure. For the end, we have some parsley that we'll chop up. Not a lot, just cover it, make it a little prettier. So we're going to get to the stove and get started. The first thing we'll do is cook up the prosciutto a little bit. Into a dry pan, we're going to add all the prosciutto. Just don't cook it up a minute. By the way, I chopped this up. Basically what I did is I just laid all the prosciutto slices flat on top of each other. I cut them lengthwise, and then I cut them crosswise in these little pieces. You could see about how small. Helpful when you're doing that, you let the prosciutto warm up a little because it's very hard peeling them when it's cold and they stick together. They warm up. Now this is not the real good stuff. This is not the prosciutto di Parma. This is the domestic domestic prosciutto. That's good enough for it. I wouldn't waste prosciutto di Parma on something that you're gonna cook up a little and mix in with anything. The prosciutto di Parma is for the special on its own little sandwich. Next thing we're gonna want to get a little liquid in here. So next thing we're going to add is the onion. Get a little liquid going. And I'm kicking up the heat on this a little bit. We might as well go with the chicken. It's one of the reasons I say don't cook the chicken all that well, because you want to cook it more here. Now it comes one of the stars of the party, the Marsala. It's named after this. I definitely don't think that's enough. And we're going to cook this down. And while we're at it, we're going to get some mushrooms in here. We're definitely going to need a little more masala. Now the mushrooms, you could boil these down before, but I like a little more firmer texture to it. They're gonna cook out in the masala. We're gonna add another half a cup. I think we're a little dry here. So since we got the mushrooms, might as well add some more. We're almost at the whole pound. And we're gonna crank up the heat a little to reduce this. I think we need a bigger boat, but we'll manage. Sauce is getting a little thick. Don't forget, we're not adding any flour. We're just going to thicken it up by reduction. Stirring away, stirring away. We're just about done. And I think that's good. We're gonna, everything's coated, pretty well reduced, and we're going to shut the heat off. We only left a few mushrooms, but that was a pound of mushrooms, a lot. Like I say, it's not going to hurt it. It's not going to put any more flavor into the dish. Just going to give you more mushrooms to eat. Oh, we're back on? Oh, sorry. We're just cutting up the parsley. We're going to put that on the side. Now, this you could have, it's ready to go. You could have it like this, throw the parsley on there. Since I'm bringing this to someone, I'm going to put it in a pan and we'll heat it up tomorrow. And this is a great dish. This is a great dish to prepare in advance to make for a party. It stays well. It actually picks up a little flavor as it marinates overnight. So we're just going to dump this. Okay, we're going to make this a little prettier. We're going to put the parsley on. Give this a nice little flavor, a little color. Not too much parsley. I had a couple of sprigs. Like I say, you could serve this to your family now. You can put it in your refrigerator overnight. Make this advance for a party. Everything's cooked. So when you heat it up, just heat it up. When you see it bubbling, it's done. And that's it. Since I got this recipe from someone from the Carolina restaurant, in the old days when you went to the Carolina, on the table at the beginning, everybody got a glass of vermouth. So in honor of Patsy and in honor of the Carolina restaurant, we're going to say a salud. And if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the station, and arrivederci for now, and we'll see you next time.